That's his name. A funny name, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Haggai, we'll talk about Haggai. This guy, Haggai, I'll read the introduction first. In 538 BC, Cyrus, the Persian king of Persia, you remember Medo-Persian Empire with King Darius? After him, one of the king's names was Cyrus the king. He gave a proclamation that the Jews could return to their homeland. Yes. Finally, 70 years they were in Babylon, and now they allowed them to leave and go back to Israel. 70 years later, everything will be all right, as God promised. And people are now not those who were taken. Probably most of those people who were taken to Babylon, they died of old age. But now the new generation and their children, now they're returning back to their home. A little over 50,000 made this first trip. There were a couple of trips. Not everybody went right away because people were like, where are we going? We have homes here and families. Shall we really go back to Israel? We're comfortable here. Why shall we go back to the desert? Nobody lives there. There's nothing there, like wild animals only. And so only about 50,000 went back. Their leader was Zerubbabel, grandson of King Jehoiakim, who was king of Judah when Babylon conquered Jerusalem. 2 years later, in 536 BC, the Jews began rebuilding the temple. They started rebuilding the temple, but due to the opposition from their neighbors and indifference by many of the exiles, the work on the temple halted. They kind of started, but then they changed their mind. It was difficult because of the enemies surrounding them. The neighbors were not very friendly, and also they didn't care really, so they stopped. 16 years they just lived their lives, and the temple was half built, or just not built at all. 16 years later, God sent two prophets, Haggai and Zechariah. We'll talk about Zechariah in the future, but Haggai came to stir the Jews to renew their efforts and get their spiritual priorities in order. He's like, come on, guys, this is the important thing. What are you doing? They had wrongly concluded that it was not time to rebuild the Lord's temple. God answered this by sending 5 messages through the prophet Haggai. Should you live in your homes of luxury while the house of God lies in ruins? So they built their houses. They built nice houses for themselves, but God's house, the temple, lies in ruins. That's what Haggai, that guy, that's what he's saying. Consider what is happening here and give thought to your ways. Even though you plant a lot, you only harvest a small amount. Even though you eat, you don't have enough. Even though you put on clothes, you're not warm. You earn wages, but they fall through a purse with holes in it. Why? Because the house of God, because of the house, it lies in ruins, he says. So God says, go to the forests and bring down timber and rebuild my temple, and I will be pleased with it and appear there in my glory. While they were gone for 70 years, they were in Babylon. During the 70 years of their exile, the forests had regrown because there were no people to cut them down. So there was a lot of available wood all around them. They could just use it and rebuild the temple. And yet those people, they were lazy, I do not know, too busy to do the right thing, too busy for God. Is it right to say that? Well, let's read to find out. Then you will know what I'm talking about. A few hands are up. We'll start with Nakshi Angel. I have 2 angels on top, so both angels will read today. We'll start with Nakshi Angel, and then Angel 5 Donkey will read the second part. I mean Olu, sorry. Yeah, my bad. All right, Angel, Nakshi.
Okay. The return to Jerusalem. After 70 years in Babylon, many Jews who had been slaves there started returning to Jerusalem. God was bringing his people back to their own land as he had promised. Yet, as the people settled in their home country, their main concern was to build beautiful houses for themselves, while no one paid attention to the temple of the Lord, which still lay in ruins. It is not the right time to start building the house of the Lord, they said. But the Lord spoke through Haggai, the prophet, saying, think about what is happening. You have sown much but harvested little. You have food but not enough to fill you. You have clothes to not not enough to keep you warm. Can't you see why this is happening? Now go up to the hills and get wood to rebuild the temple, and I will be pleased.
Yeah, so the question for us is, can one, or can you become too busy? Well, it happens all the time. Let's read first and then we'll talk about it. Angel, Olu, Sarah, can you read?
Okay, sir. Can one become too busy? The Bible has quite a lot to say to those who are lazy. See Hebrews chapter 6 verse 12 and
Ecclesiastes
Ecclesiastes
10:18. Start with the next sentence. Doesn't matter.
10:18. God does not want be like a lazy bones who never tries anything, does anything, or achieves anything. Yet rushing from one activity to another and working like crazy is not what God had in mind for us either. One of the sins that the Israelites had struggled with before they were taken to Babylon was their constant longing for more money and things. Now that they had returned to Jerusalem, again became so busy with their own thing that they started leaving God out of their lives. They must have looked like ants rushing around, gathering and carrying, weaving and building. So this is what God said to them: go and get building material and start rebuilding the temple so that I can meet with you again. In the same way, God does not want our lives to be filled with so many things that there is no time left for Him. With all the things going on, it is important to set aside a special time to spend with the Lord each day, whether it works best for you in the morning, the afternoon, or the evening.
Let's read the verse for today together. Ready, go. Come near to
Come near to God, and He will come near to you.
James 4:8.
Yeah, and this is what happens everywhere, all around the world. Sometimes, not sometimes, but all the time, people say, I'm too busy. People are always busy. Everybody's busy. People, yes, from the moment they're born, they're busy. Babies are busy, being babies, playing with toys. Then you go to school, you're busy with your homework, you're busy with helping your parents, you're busy playing with your friends, you're busy talking to your friends, you're busy, watching TV. Then you have exams, O-level exams, A-level exams, monthly term tests, final exams, midterm exams, and you're always busy studying. You go to the university, you're busy with the assignments, you're busy with exams too. Then you get a job. You're busy with your job. There's always a lot of things to do. You get married, you're busy with your family. You're busy with your children. You're busy, just being busy. It kind of becomes a habit, being busy always, and never having enough time for God. Never, ever having time for God. And then you die and you go to heaven and say, God, sorry, I was busy. And God is like, excuse me, who are you? Do I know you? Says, well, no, I never had time to get to know you, God. And God says, sorry, I don't know you. Who are you? Does God know you by name? It's like knowing
And then,
about
like, you
someone.
mean like
That's the difference. Gayana, what?
then
And then you mean like we are going to have like, if you
That's the
don't
difference.
have
Yes.
time for God.
You can know someone. How? You know about someone, or you can know someone. If you know about someone, it's like knowing somebody famous. Who's famous?
Billie Eilish.
Gotabaya Rajapaksa is famous, right? Do we all know about him? Yes, we know
Who?
about him,
Yes.
but we do not know him personally. Same thing with God. We can know
Gotabaya
about
Rajapaksa.
God because we hear the stories, but do you know him? Or a better question, does he know you?
Never. He doesn't
Does
know
God
me.
know you? That's the question. Because when you
He
get
knows
to
me
see him
because
and
I
meet
have
him
time for
finally
him.
in heaven, would he be surprised? Like, hello, who are
No.
you?
No,
No.
never.
Does he know you? That's the question.
No.
Yeah,
Right?
he does.
Do not be too
No.
busy. Do not be too busy for God. Okay? Because that's the
I am
problem.
busy, but I have time for him at night. So
I am busy.
1.5 hours.
Okay,
But
I'm telling you,
I-
everybody's always busy. Okay? And for the rest of your life, you will be busy with life. And that will never happen. But do not lose sight of what's important. It's easy to be busy. It even rhymes. Okay? It's very easy to be busy. Even lazy people are always busy being lazy, you know. That's true. Ask them. They will tell you they were always too busy. That's why they didn't do anything. What was I saying? Wait a second. I need to go back a few seconds. What was I saying?
About being busy for.
I was talking about being busy. I forgot the important part.
He was talking about having time for the Lord.
I forgot.
Does God know us?
Well, yeah. There was something else I wanted to say, but I forgot. That happens when I digress.
You
Not
talk
the
so
word
much,
digress.
so you forgot what you said earlier.
Yes, I went
You
somewhere
are
else and
really
I
into
forgot the
talking
important
too
part.
much.
Oh, I remembered. Here. Listen. Yes, I do talk too much. Stop. Don't interrupt or I'll forget again. Jesus said that many people will go to heaven and God would ask them, excuse me, who are you? And they're like, don't you know me? I donated so and so much money to the orphanages and other, places. I gave that much money away. I prophesied. I prayed for sick and healed them. But God would say, I do not know you. Imagine that. People actually donated a lot of money and they prayed for people and they prophesied somehow. I do not know how, but God doesn't know them. How is that possible?
That's
Maybe
because they treated the other people, but they didn't have time to treat Jesus.
exactly. Maybe they never, ever, said hello to God ever in their life. Never have they ever taken a minute in their life to pray to God. And so God says, I do not know you when they meet in heaven. Wouldn't that be sad? You spend all of your life, donating money and thinking that you're a good person. But God says, I do not know you. That would be very disappointing, especially to those people. Do not be one of those people. Get to know God personally. That's the important thing. And today's lesson was about not being too busy for God. It's okay to be busy. It's okay to be lazy sometimes, but never be too busy to spend a minute or two with God. That's the important thing. Okay.
Yes.